Happy New Year! First vlog of the year. It's on January 2nd. Hope you got lots of painting done over your holidays. I got a fair amount done. So I finished Zarbag's Gitz. That's the first thing I did since the last work in progress, because it's been more than a time. 2 weeks it's been. So you've seen this fella. Let's just zoom in a bit. So you've seen the Fanatic, nothing's changed there. You've seen the Squigs. Nothing much changed there. Video's already up for them, been up for ages. Because, you know, Squigs are fun. And you've seen this guy. Red Cap. So, that's what I painted by the last work in progress video, 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've painted this fella with his little fire, and this other fella. Oh wait, no, this was the test model, wasn't it? So you hadn't seen Red Cap. Here's Red Cap. Yeah, I painted this guy because I remember painting the little bugs. And yes, so I painted Red Cap as well. This guy is kind of the poster boy. He's the one I've done all the video footage on. And the netter, Prong, is it? Prog? Now, this net is a bugger. This net is an absolute mare to paint, in my opinion. And you'll see why. Well, basically, it's because it's been sculpted with more depth than it actually has. Which is a weird one. Like, there's like some forced perspective going on with the distance between the gaps in the net. Which makes it look like it's deeper from the front than it, and from the back than it actually is, because it's a one-piece model. So that was a bit of a bugger. A bit of a pain to paint that, but he's done. It's painted, and we've got Drizgit, my favourite, who I've painted up here with his mushroom on his cooking over his coals. And the boy himself, Zarbag. Now I never want to paint another mushroom again. Oops. So I'm not going to be painting any of the Gloomspike Gitz models that have just been announced, because they're covered in mushrooms, and I really hate painting mushrooms. Like, they are the least fun thing to paint, I found. They were just horrible things to paint. Didn't mind painting everything else, but the mushrooms, well, they were driving me crazy. So, there we go. So the Zarbag's Gitz are done. I can play with them now. I built a deck. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play some games with these. It's not a very good deck, but it'll be fun. So the colour guides for the Zarbag's Gitz is already up, based on this chap, I believe. Each part of the video, so there's going to be painting. How to paint the Moonclan Grot bit is at the start, which will take you through painting all bits of this guy, which will include painting his mushroom hat. And once he's done, we then move on to more specific bits. So the ball and chain of the Fanatic, for example, gets its own section in the video. The netter's net will get its own section in the video. Note, I actually painted the net of the netter before I painted everything else on him, and I'll point that out in the video when I do that. It just was a lot easier to do it that way. The Squig Herders metallics and the brazier and the brand all get their own sections in the video. and the shaman's little spite gets its own section in the video as well. And that covers everything. So there's going to be a lot of little sections for painting things which are a bit odd. So that's Zarbag's Gitz. That video is going to be going up at some point in January. The format's going to work thusly, if you're a patron. Month one, the voting goes up, and you can vote on what I'm going to paint. The next month, I will paint that thing. The month after, the video will go up. This is just because it takes me about that long to get something painted and the video edited over that time. So month 1 voting, month 2 I'm doing the paint, month 3 is when the video is actually going to go up. So Zarbag's Gitz were voted for in November, they got painted during December, and their videos are going up in January. The winners of December's poll was actually Magor's Fiends. I thought it was going to be Eyes of the Nine. It wasn't. It's Magor's Fiends. I've already started painting them, so they're not going to be too bad. But I'm going to be painting them this month, in January, and their video will appear in February. It's the only way that I can actually make this work with the amount of time I have available. I'll still be doing Hobby Essentials videos in between, and there'll be the occasional non-voted for painting tutorial. But the voted for painting tutorials, there's basically a full month between the end of the vote and when the video comes out. At least a full month. And that's just so that there's enough time to be able to paint the thing and edit it, while also trying to do my day job at the same time. My day job at the moment is painting commissions, rather than video games development, because painting commissions pays better. Which means it pays at all, yeah, anyway. So once I'd done Zarbag's Gitz, I decided to have a bit of a change, and paint a World War II tank. This is a 1/100th scale King Tiger. You could use this in Flames of War, I'm told. I don't play, so don't ask. I recorded all of this on camera as well, so this will be getting an impromptu tutorial for those people that are interested in this kind of thing. And yeah, it rattles because the pin for the turret got stuck in the turret, and so I had to put a new one in, but I couldn't get the old one out. So like most of my tanks, it ended up rattling. And yeah, King Tiger. I don't know the rules of Flames of War, I don't know anything about this tank, I don't have any decals, it didn't come with any, and it only cost me £4 for the model. So not bad all told. Took me about 4 hours to paint to this standard, which I think is above tabletop by quite a long way. Not too bad really. 1/100th scale, it's quite small. I mean, 28mm scale. There's a guy for comparison. And speaking of which, this is what I'm currently painting. This is the Sergeant of an all-female Imperial Guard kill team, which is a commission. This is the test model done to display standard. Doesn't have a base because they're going on clear acrylic bases and they haven't arrived yet. Because, you know, New Year's, Christmas, etc. Holidays makes things not arrive in the post. So this is the test model. Quite a generic colour scheme really. It's from Victoria's Miniatures. I don't recommend you buy anything from them that has been made before 2017, which these were, because the casting quality on these was pretty bad. Some of the bits, the canteens, were fine. Most of the guns here were also fine, and were in a completely different resin to everything else. But the torsos and the legs for these Arcadian Guard females are really, really bad. The casting is so sketch, there's loads of air bubbles, lots of cleanup required, and they barely fit together at all. And they're certainly not particularly compatible with the newer parts, which are designed mostly for the males, so that might be the gender thing. Like the las guns look really, really big on the females. So that's the thing. If you're going to get stuff from Victoria's Miniatures, get stuff that's been made in the last couple of years, because it seems like their quality's gone up. but they're still selling stock from when they made the older stuff, and it's not good. It's not good at all. The heads in particular are pretty bad. But you won't notice on the tabletop. So it's only while painting them that you notice, and I'm the only one that has to paint these. The guy I'm commissioning for is not going to have to paint them. He's just going to have to look at them. So from his point of view, it's all going to be fine. But I have to sit there with a head magnifier on, painting a face that looks much worse under a head magnifier. So lots of fun times there. He watches these videos. Hey, I am enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I have specific complaints about Victoria's miniatures quality, and it's pretty specific to these miniatures. Their newer stuff, the females in greatcoats, looks pretty good. Quality on those looks fine. The quality on this drummer, perfectly fine. I think it's about a year later than the Arcadian Guard, this drummer. But this, pretty much fine. No problems whatsoever with the drummer. I placed the drumsticks because they're with slightly more substantial ones that aren't going to break. The other ones would have just gone whoop and broken really easily. But aside from that, the drummer's coming out really, really nicely. So I think it's just a case of the older stuff is old stock and wasn't cast particularly well at the time, and therefore has not aged well compared to everything else you can buy on the internet these days, such as figures from ArtLW, which are significantly better. This is the torso of the female colonel you can get from them that I've started painting, and the casting quality is a billion times, well, that's not true. The casting quality is far, far, far better on their stuff than all the Victoria's miniature stuff. So painting this alongside the Victoria's miniature stuff is a bit jarring, because I'm going from... If I hadn't had this to paint at the same time, I probably wouldn't have noticed the Victoria's miniatures quality shift, to be honest. But I've got this to paint, and it's just much, 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 much better. Where's her legs gone? They've fallen off their pin. There they are. So this one I'm able to paint entirely apart because it's all the parts fit, because they're designed to go together rather than being parts from kits. So the casting quality is far significantly better on this, as is the head, which is here. So this face, it's going to be hard to tell, get it in focus. About there looks in focus. So the face is fantastic. No complaints whatsoever. Whereas, the face for the Vicky's Minis ones, not so good. Let's try and zoom that in a bit. That's as far as it'll go. So the side by side, the ArtLW one is far better proportioned, more appropriate to the scale. The Vicky's Miniatures one is clearly a hand sculpt. This is clearly a digital sculpt, this is clearly a hand sculpt. So I'm very firmly in the realm of digital sculpt are better these days. So, and I recognise that hand sculpting takes a lot of skill, but so does digital sculpting. They're just different sets of skills. Let it never be said that digital sculpting is easier than hand sculpting. It's not. It's just a completely different set of skills. So I've got a bunch of these guys on the go at the moment. This is basically the base colours for one of the riflemen. So doing that at the moment. That's me for the next couple of weeks, quite frankly. I'm probably going to get about 3 miniatures done a day. I'm only going to be working on it 4 days a week. So there's 15 models to paint. It's going to take me at least 5 working days. Probably 6 to finish everything. So that's, next week's work in progress. I'll be showing you a bunch of Victoria's miniatures kill team all finished up. I also tried painting the Fyreslayers on New Year's Eve. Here's some pictures. If you're hanging out in the Discord, you will have seen these. Come hang out in Discord, there's a link in the description. But I tried painting the Fyreslayers, I was like, I'm gonna paint these! I'm not going into 2019 with the Fyreslayers still to paint. And I gave up. I got to the beards and I went, no, I hate these models, I'm not enjoying this. I'm gonna go do something I enjoy instead. So, yeah, I bailed on the Fyreslayers. I didn't strip them. I didn't strip the Fyreslayers. I was tempted, but I didn't do it. They're actually fine. I just got bored. They're not bad. I just got bored painting them. So I didn't strip them. They're just in the display cabinet now, waiting for the next burst of inspiration for me to actually go and paint them. I did get all the footage on the camera, up to the point that I painted them, so I'm going to copy that onto the computer to free up space on the card. And then, you know, if I do finish them off, they have the possibility to be a video, but I'm going to take them off the voting because I don't want to be forced to finish them, because I am not going to enjoy it if I have to force myself. And bad things will happen to them if I have to force myself to finish them. So in the next vote, which will be going up while I'm rendering this video, the Fyreslayers will be gone and will be replaced by something else. So once I gave up on the Fyreslayers, I spent the rest of my New Year's Eve painting a unit of Sequitors, seen here, as Celestial Warbringers, which is Screamer Pink, basically. It's the colour scheme out of the book, the Stormcast Eternals book. And I painted it, and came to the conclusion that I wanted a Screamer Pink army, not a blue army. And when you look at them from behind, here's the picture, yeah, they basically just look blue, because Sacrosanct Chamber robes for the Celestial Warbringers are supposed to be blue. And the blue next to Screamer Pink, next to the cream robes, looks really, really ugly to my eyes. I was like, oh, those are bad colours to put next to each other. Especially with that large amount of blue. I was like, nah, don't like it. So I stripped those. So, the first thing I finished painting... Well, I haven't finished painting anything yet in this year, in 2019, so I'm not counting them. But the first thing I did in 2019 was strip an entire unit of Sequitors. I'm hoping that doesn't set a trend. And then the next day, New Year's Day, I decided I was going to paint a test model, and I tried painting it up as the Hallowed Knights, which is the silver armour, Screamer Pink robes, because, you know, I like Screamer Pink, and white everything else with blue shoulder pads and shield. And it was going fine until I did the blue shoulder pads and the shield, when I went, that's a colour too far, and that's one too many colours. I think they might turn out fine if you did Screamer Pink on the shoulder pads and white on the shields, because then I think it wouldn't be too many colours, but the blue just kind of puts it into, nah, it's a bit too much for a whole army. And one of the things that Games Workshop does in their books is they only show you the front of a model, whereas in reality, when you're playing a game of Age of Sigmar, you're going to see the back of your army the most. And from the back, those models look stupid, in my opinion. I didn't like them, so I went, right, I'm not going to do Hallowed Knights. I mean, I didn't like their rules, but I wouldn't have run them as Hallowed Knights anyway. So I'm not going to do Hallowed Knights. I've got loads of spare Stormcast Eternals, so I might do a video on painting these different storm hosts that I painted over the New Year's Day. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, at some point in the future if there's enough demand for it. But I decided not to do Hallowed Knights, so that particular model is in the strip, but like I said, I've got lots of spare Sequitors. And now I'm in the position of basically coming up with my own storm host, which I don't have a name for, and I will demonstrate on this model here, and I may put a diagram of what I'm thinking over on the side. So, the base off that you actually see them from the back the most. when you're playing. When they're on display, you see them from the front. When on the battlefield, you see them from behind, because you point them towards the enemy out of habit, because that's what looks correct. If they're all walking backwards towards the enemy, it's a bit weird. So I'm going to go with a kind of what I call a working steel armour. So rather than it being silver or gold or anything, or any other colour, painted colour, I'm going to be doing it in a working steel, which is to say that it's going to look like armour that has seen combat. I'm not going to weather it per se, but it's not going to be super bright and polished. It's going to be a bit scuffed, a bit dinged. And on top of that steel armour, I'm going to be doing the lower robe here, at least in the Sequitors, as leather. I'm going to be using the same leather recipe, or at least trying to approximate the same leather recipe that I used for my Primaris Psyker that I painted last year. And because they've got buttons, basically, on these lower robes, they're clearly supposed to close on this side here. On the golden push-fit ones, there's even buttonholes. Don't know if you can see there. There's buttonholes down one side. So I figure that these are supposed to be mostly for protection against the elements. Perhaps they're not actually, or a little bit of extra protection from swords and so on, but they're raincoats. So I'm doing them like that trench coat from that Primaris Psyker, who is on screen. And the neck part, I don't know what this is called, and the tabard here are going to be done in a cream/off-white colour. That's just because I don't want a cold colour next to that warm colour of the of the leather, because it will look a bit weird going like that. So these will be roughly analogous colours in terms of like warmth, and then the coldness is going to come in from the steel armour and from some black details. And so that's my plan. The gauntlets here, aside from the backs of the hands, which are clearly armoured, these are going to be leather, because apparently for some reason Sequitors all have leather gauntlets, whereas everyone else has metal ones. And these bits will be in the same. So basically we've got one colour for all of the leather parts, which I've decided this is leather. It doesn't necessarily hang exactly like leather, it looks a bit too loose for leather, but we'll see how it looks. Leather would be stiffer. But I'm going to do a test model up, see how I feel about it. And if it looks good, then that's colour scheme. If it doesn't look good, then I've got to come up with something else. Suggestions below. I don't want to do Anvils of the Helden Hammer for an entire army, because I already have a Deathwatch army and it's basically painting the same thing, and I don't want to do that. The whole point is to have a change. And I don't want to do Hammers of Sigmar, because I don't like Ultramarines in the first place. I definitely don't like Reverse Ultramarines. Because that's just too much gold. Also, I'm a bit of a hipster, so I don't like painting the stuff that's on the box. But I think that's true for most people. It's very rare that people actually paint things the way they are on the box. So that's my Stormcast Eternals army. Not sure how that's actually going to end up yet, but I definitely know that I don't want that particular Celestial Warbringer's colour scheme. I may go back to it and just do the robes not as blue, and do them as like a cream or off-white colour. But either way, that's what I've done. That's what I've been doing. That's what I'm going to do. And that's about it. I've got a product review video coming up for these. These are some fancy new Tamiya snips that I got. I'm going to say that I got them for Christmas, but basically all of you lot bought them for me by clicking on Amazon affiliate links. This is about 3 months worth of Amazon affiliate links money right here in these clippers. And so I used my Amazon gift voucher that I got from that, to buy these and then do a product review on them. And short version, they're really good. But that'll be coming up this week sometime. Probably on Friday. And Hobby Essentials Part 1 is going to be how to thin paint. For paintbrushing, and actually it will deal mostly with just painting a smooth single colour on a model. And I'm going to be using one of my many spare Stormcast Eternals as the example in order to show you that. I was going to use Space Marines, but then I decided I want to use them for a project. But I have lots and lots of spare Stormcast Eternals, so they're going to be making quite a lot of appearances in Hobby Essentials. But that's fine, they've got a bit of everything on them. And yeah, Zarbag's Gitz, some point in January. The video's half edited. Just waiting for the second half to get edited, which probably won't be until this weekend coming up. So, maybe next Tuesday, Zarbag's Gitz will be available to patrons, and then the following week it'll go live on YouTube. What are you looking forward to this year? Gloomspite's Gitz looked interesting, don't they? I like all of the models apart from the characters. For some reason, I'm not a big fan of the characters for the Gloomspite's Gitz. I really like the new Fanatics. They look characterful. I really like the new Squig Herders and the Squigs. But I am not going to start another army. Especially not a Horde army. Screw that. I'm not starting a Goblin army. You can't make me. I can't afford it. I've got my Zarbag's Gitz. That video will be live for when the Gloomspite Gitz come out. So, yeah, the guide will exist for how to paint them. I won't have to paint anything specific from that range. And the Troggoth for Warhammer Underworld will be coming out, what, February, probably? But if they follow the same release pattern as last year, the next set of Warhammer Underworld figures will be coming out in mid-Feb, in time for my birthday. And that'll be probably the Troggoth and the Dark Oath Chaos people. They haven't teased anything other than the Troggoth yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be in the order that it was shown in that one video that they released that one time. So Troggoth and Dark Oath, I'm guessing, are going to be next. And then the ones after that will be the Sylvaneth and Caradron. And they won't show up until the summer sometime. But yeah, so I'll probably paint a Troggoth because I'll be painting that Warhammer Underworld Warband. But I won't be painting one specifically for Gloomspite's Gitz. But I'm mostly focusing this year on getting my Golden Demon entries done for May, and then after that, painting my armies. I'm not going to be doing as much competition painting for 2020's Golden Demon, just because trying to do competition painting takes a lot of time, and with the YouTube channel and all, I don't really have a lot of time for it. In 2018, I spent the first 3 months not making any of 2018. Well, not the first 3 months, but I spent like March all the way through to towards the end of May, because that's when Warhammer Fest was. I didn't do any YouTube content during that time because I was painting one model. I was painting Alexei Pollux for that entire time, and it really took it out of me. And I would have rather been painting a lot more different things, especially since, you know, it didn't even place with that Alexei Pollux model in the end. So yeah, I'm not putting as much emphasis on competition painting in this following year because I want to be able to play games, and I'm hopefully going to be moving to an area where I'm going to be able to actually play games more often, and I will need armies for that. So nothing happened. So I want to get those armies painted. So I'm focusing on that kind of painting. I'm focusing on volume rather than quality over the next year. But I've still got my Golden Demon entries to paint. I've got Carib Coln the Risen, who I'm painting, and I'm going to be painting up some more Raptors to turn that one Primaris Lieutenant into a squad, a kill team entry, which will probably be rolled into the 40k squad category. Just a bit of a prediction there. So he'll be going in with them, and then they will be getting a entry as a unit, because I think I've got a better chance in unit than I do in single figure. I think I stand no chance whatsoever in single figure, whereas I stand a relatively okay chance in unit. So that's my plan. And anything else I've got that fits a category, I'll be entering into it. So I think it will probably still be the Night Haunts for Warhammer, no, the Age of Sigmar unit. I think the Night Haunts that I painted will still be going into that category. I'm just fiddling with the thing on camera now. And Caracol's going into vehicle. I've got a 40k unit entry. I don't think I'll have a 40k single figure entry. Again, I don't think I'll win the thing, so I'm not necessarily even sure it's worth trying. And I haven't done any large models for Age of Sigmar, so I can't enter into Age of Sigmar large model. And I don't do dioramas, so I can't do dual or diorama. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm not going to have a lot of entries, probably only 4 at most. But yeah, it should be an interesting day. So that's it. What have you got painting? What are your New Year's resolution painting things? Mine is to paint an army. It's to finish my Stormcast Eternals army before the end of the year. And if I manage to finish my Stormcast Eternals army before the end of the year, I'm going to finish my Deathwatch army. Or at least, get it to a playable points level. And then I've got 2 armies that I can play with. I will also get that Orc Speed Freaks content painted up, but that's going to have to just kind of fit in around everything else. I put aside an entire month to paint that, and I didn't manage to get it until the end of the month, so I'm still grumpy about that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching my ramble. Have a good 2019, and yeah, you can subscribe there. Check out my Patreon there. There's colour guides and stuff like that. Early access to all of my video tutorials. YouTube thinks you like that. Check out my Instagrams and so on down there. Also join the Discord. That's it. Bye bye.